Hey guys, this is Minneapolis, and before we get into today's special video, I just want to let you know that Pokemon's Next Top Model 4 is going to happen. I've kind of started pre-production, and I just wanted to announce that I am going to give you guys mostly control over the cast of Cycle 4. You guys are going to pick 8 out of the 12 Pokemon. There's some Pokemon that I really want to see compete, but you guys are the ones who make this show possible, so you're going to get to choose most of the cast of this cycle. So comment below Pokemon that you want to see compete in Pokemon's Next Top Model Cycle 4. Thank you guys, and without further ado, let's get into today's special video. So today we're going to talk about something that I at least think is really interesting, which is rejected Pokemon's Next Top Model contestants. So when I do my quote-unquote casting for Pokemon's Next Top Model, I choose Pokemon that I think are going to be interesting as models. Sometimes, however, I change my mind and I revise the cast. These are some of the Pokemon that were considered to be on the show, but didn't ultimately make the cut for one reason or another. So the first Pokemon that we're going to talk about is Kecleon, and as you guys know, Kecleon is currently competing on Pokemon's Next Top Model Cycle 3, but if you look at this picture, this is a Cycle 2 intro slide, and that shows that Kecleon was originally supposed to be in Cycle 2. I don't know why I cut him, but I'm glad I ultimately included him in Cycle 3. Really interesting Pokemon from a modeling perspective. So LGM also made the initial cast of Pokemon's Next Top Model Cycle 2, as you can see from this slide, but I decided to cut it for one reason or another, and I ended up putting Behem, its evolution, in Cycle 3. I might include LGM in a future cycle, but I think since Behem, its evolution, was included in Cycle 3, I might have to wait a while on that. So moving on to Cycle 3, we can see that Aurorus made the original cast, but I decided to cut him because he was a little bit too big for the group shot, which I kind of regret. I think Aurorus would have been a really interesting contestant, and Aurorus will definitely be competing in Cycle 4 of Pokemon's Next Top Model. Now we're going to cover some Pokemon that were considered for Cycle 3 but were cut before I started making the intro. One of these Pokemon is Heliolisk, and I think the reason why Heliolisk was cut is because I thought it would not fit into the group picture for the fade out, and also I think that at the time I thought that this picture would result in it being eliminated first in a really obvious and boring elimination, and so I thought there wasn't really any reason to put Heliolisk into the competition. Looking back on this shot though, I don't really know how I would judge it if I was to put Heliolisk on the show, but we may see someday. I also considered putting Sudowoodo in Cycle 3, and obviously as you can see, this picture is pretty good, and I think Sudowoodo would have made a fine model, but I think the reason why it was cut was the initial theme for my casting of Cycle 3 was 2 Pokemon from each generation, which obviously did not occur since I replaced Aurorus with Smeargle. But I think that Sudowoodo would be really interesting in the competition, and I'm definitely going to cast Sudowoodo at some point. The question is when, though. As you can see, another Generation 2 Pokemon that was cut was Ursaring, and I considered putting Ursaring on the show because I thought that she would make a really interesting model, and I still think that, so I think, like Sudowoodo, Ursaring's eventually going to appear on Pokemon's Next Top Model, but the question is, which cast do I feel she fits in best with? So that's all the rejected contestants that I have to talk about for the time being. Obviously, as I make more cycles, there's going to be more rejected contestants, and I will do other videos about rejected contestants if you guys like this one. So thank you guys for watching this video, and remember to comment Pokemon that you want to see in Pokemon's Next Top Model Cycle 4. Thank you.